And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. In the meantime here, do have to follow up still, as we have been over the last several days, on the internal fights playing out amongst supporters and allies of President Trump over Jeffrey Epstein here. Well, Fox News' chief White House correspondent, Mike Emanuel, has a look at that very fight. Let's watch.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
That was then candidate Trump a year ago on the push for the FBI to release classified info in its investigation into the late accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Now President Trump is pushing people to move on, including those in his own party.
But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
He's dead, he's gone, and all it is the Republicans, certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook.
But the president's change of tune is now threatening to fracture part of his MAGA base. Trump taking to Truth Social Wednesday, labeling those still talking about it his, quote, past supporters. A DOJ memo last week insisted there was no evidence that Epstein maintained a list of influential clients. That didn't sit well with those who've long alleged the government is hiding something.
Release the Epstein files, am I right? Yeah.
The push for more transparency is gaining steam on Capitol Hill, with the House Speaker weighing in Wednesday.
You need to have all of the credible information released for the American people to make their decision. We trust the American people, and I know the president does as well.
So far, President Trump has deferred to Attorney General Pam Bondi on what, if any, information to release. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Let's bring into the conversation our friend there, politics editor at the Washington Monthly, Bill Sher. He joins me. Bill, good to see you here. So first off, let's go back to 2015, 2016. Donald Trump said on the campaign trail at that time, he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue, shoot someone dead, he wouldn't lose any support. He's losing support now over the Epstein saga here. Is Teflon Don wearing thin, Bill?
Well, this is the one development that does seem to really weaken the MAGA coalition. There's always times where his support has waned in the sort of the center-right folks. But MAGA folks seem to be truly upset about this, at least some. And I think that's because conspiracy theorizing has been a crucial ingredient to holding the MAGA coalition together. It helps Trump portray himself as outside of the establishment. I'm someone who's going to infiltrate the establishment. I'm going to expose the secrets. I'm not going to be kowtowed or co-opted by the deep state. And there's the clip that you showed beforehand where he said, when he was asked if he would release the Epstein files, and he said, yeah, I would. That's how that segment aired when it first aired in June during the campaign. But he actually said some stuff afterwards that hedged. He said, I guess I would. I think that less so compared to other conspiracy theories he was asked about, JFK and 9/11. I think that less so because you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because it's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least, I don't know about Epstein as much as I do the others. Something about the way he died. It'd be interesting to find out what happened there, because that was a weird situation. The cameras didn't have to be working, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'd go a long way toward that one. So it's a bit of a word salad. But he had a hesitation from the jump that was not widely understood and accepted by hardcore MAGA people. They expected the full Epstein file. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel indicated they were going to get it over the last 4 months, and now they're not. And this really unsettles folks who thought, hey, I thought you, Donald Trump, were going to reveal the conspiracies, and now you're going to be part of the conspiracy. That doesn't sit well with them.
Yeah, you know, Bill, I want to kind of highlight that point here. Trump is becoming, in the middle of all of this, what his supporters and acolytes, to what they say and what they claim, are trying to fight. The alleged deep state, the cabal of big government, the elites, And because Donald Trump has been so recalcitrant about this and hesitant to go any further, it's almost as if he's now become part of the conspiracy, or at least he's now the central character, because he wants this to go away and he doesn't want to release anything else. Now his supporters think he's in on it.
And I think to the point you were trying to allude to earlier, Trump has always said, from going back to the first campaign, that his supporters would stick with him no matter what, with the Fifth Avenue shooting hypothetical as an example. And he's been proven right on that point time and time again. So you can understand why he thinks he could do it one more time and just tell his people to shut up and move on. There's nothing to see here. And what we've gotten back anecdotally so far is that this time is different. This is not like the others, because they thought they were on the same page that there is a Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy and Donald Trump was going to be the guy to reveal it. And if he's not revealing it, why is that the case? Now, I don't want to act like I'm a conspiracy theorist here. I'm not suggesting that there's an actual cover-up involved, but I do think that's why you're seeing this severe agita amongst those in MAGA world.
So, before I can ask this question, I have to ask the first question, because I wanted to ask you this: why wouldn't he release everything? But then I have to ask this: what is there to release? Everyone is talking about more files. Some are under seal, as we know, to protect some of the victims in the case. We know Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving a 20-year prison sentence, she's trying to get her conviction appealed. That's one of the reasons here. Also, we also heard from Pam Bondi last week and Kash Patel. There's no client list to speak of here. So what do they want released?
It's always the problem with conspiracy theories. How do you disprove the negative? I mean, I don't know what's there. We don't have an inventory of what items have been held back. I think Alan Dershowitz, who was Epstein's lawyer, suggested in a Wall Street Journal column what he says is there.
Okay, so I have that. I have that column.
He's a reliable
column in front of me. I want to read that. That's part of the column here in the Wall Street Journal. You just alluded to it. Alan Dershowitz penned it. He said, quote, "I was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer. I know the facts, some of which I can't disclose because it is privileged or subject to court-imposed sealing orders. But what I can disclose makes several important things clear." He says this: first off, Epstein never created a client list. He said the FBI interviewed alleged victims who named several clients. These names have been redacted. They should be disclosed, but the courts have ordered them sealed. Dershowitz says, "I know who they are." He says they do not include any current office holders. Now that goes to the question, Bill, that just because a name is redacted or in some unsealed filing, that's guilt by association. That's not guilt in the court of law, is it? If you had any affiliation with Epstein, you went to a dinner party with him, maybe you were on his plane, maybe you went to his island, maybe you met him once, that seems to kind of be the scope, the continuum of the Epstein relationships that so many people are seeking.
It would be understandable, if politically uncomfortable, to say there are people who were named in the course of the investigation by potential witnesses, and it would not be appropriate to release those names because we don't have enough evidence to indict them. It would give a veneer of guilt unfairly in the court of public opinion. And as a matter of principle in law enforcement, you don't drag people's names through the mud unless you have all the evidence and you're ready to prosecute. But saying as much would feed the conspiracy beast that you're hiding something. But that would at least be a principle that I think commonplace reason not to release names. But Donald Trump, is not capable of laying out the facts fully in transparency like that, because again, it would be hard to then. It wouldn't stop Bill from talking and spinning out further theories.
Yeah, Dershowitz goes on to say as well, it's clear from the evidence Epstein committed suicide. Dershowitz says what isn't clear is whether he was assisted by jail personnel. He says that seems likely to me based on the evidence of allegedly broken cameras, the transfer of his cellmate, and the absence of guards during relevant time periods. He then goes on to say this other conspiracy theory, this kind of side conspiracy theory, he refutes it thus. He says, I have absolutely no doubt that Epstein never worked for any intelligence agency. He also goes on to say conspiracy stories attract readers, viewers, and listeners. They're also fodder for political attacks. He says the Epstein case has generated more than its share of such theories, and there's nothing more annoying to gossip mongers than when stubborn facts or the absence of facts get in the way of a juicy theory here. How does this end, Bill?
I mean, I'm not sure it does end. I mean, we've seen other conspiracy theories linger and linger and linger, often because someone like Donald Trump is giving it oxygen over and over again. Yeah. And so long as there are people in MAGA world, there's nothing that's more enticing than intra-party conflict. If people within a party are criticizing each other, people are going to write about it. People are going to talk about it. So as long as there are MAGA people not letting it go, then it's just going to hang around. Okay. And it does create I'm not saying this is a Democratic problem per se, but do Democrats try to feed the conspiracy beast themselves? I think Trump's covering something up here and trying to push that. Or is it an opportunity to say, you know what, people, maybe it's conspiracy theories that are the problem here. Yeah. And Donald Trump, built a political movement out of that. And that's not what governing is supposed to be about. When we have evidence, we pursue. When we don't have evidence, we move on. Stop getting taken in by Trump's conspiracy theorizing, because he clearly only does it when it serves his political interest, and he drops it when it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, Democrats, to your point, do seem to be relishing in all of this. I just thought of this lastly, though. I was trying to rack my brain earlier today of a time in the 10 years that Donald Trump has been on the political stage when he told his core base of people, his very strong constituency, some of them, I don't want your support anymore. Has there ever been a time that he's done that until today in this Truth Social post?
Oh, well, I think when he attacked John McCain in the first campaign, that was an audacious move to go at a faction of the Republican Party and insult them. And but this is the faction of the party that he created, that 30% of the American electorate that are MAGA hardcore no matter what. Has he ever said that to them? I don't think so. Not to my recollection. I mean, he was always going after the more moderate Republicans and the rhinos, sure, quote unquote. Now he's going after his own MAGA base. And again, he might just believe that there's no way people will actually leave him because the loyalty bond is so strong. Or he's quite aware that he's not running for election again. He's not going to be on the ballot, despite all the third term talk. It's not going to happen. So it doesn't really matter. And all Donald Trump ever really focuses on is the immediate news cycle that he's in, and the political ramifications down the road are usually out of sight, out of mind for him.
All right. Bill Sher, always fun talking politics with you. So good to see you. We'll talk soon.
Great. Take care.
Okay, in the meantime here, just want to focus briefly on Capitol Hill. Take a look at this. Like I said, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson was asked about the Epstein drama here. Want to play out that for you? Listen.
Steve, why do you think more stories on Epstein?
I have been misquoted and misrepresented on all of that. Go watch the interview I did with Benny Johnson. I was very clear. I mean, we're for transparency. I'm saying the same thing the president is, that I mean, you need to have all of the credible information released for the American people to make their decision. We trust the American people, and I know the president does as well. That's an important principle to abide by here. What they have to do, though, what the president has to do is protect the innocent. I mean, there are, whistleblowers and minors' names involved in things related to Epstein, obviously, and you got to be careful not to release that.
Back out live there to the U.S. Capitol. Well, one of President Trump and Speaker Johnson's foes there, even within their own party, that's Republican from Kentucky, Congressman Thomas Massie, with this filing today, saying we all deserve to know what's in the Epstein files, who's implicated, and how deep this corruption goes. Americans were promised justice and transparency. We're introducing a discharge petition to force a vote in the U.S. House of Representatives on releasing the complete files. So we'll keep an eye on that, on whether or not that gains any traction within the